Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now we are come to the final session of this
Thank you, sir.
magnificent conference. And I would like to invite Dr. Shajila Vasudeva, Associate Professor in the Department of Political Science at Shahid Captain Vikram Batra Government Degree College, Palampur. We are very much honored with your presence, ma'am. On behalf of our college management, I welcome you and invite you to take this session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
I welcome to all this in last session of International Virtual Conference of Literature, Education and Social Science organized by Department of English, Mohammed Sathak College of Arts and Science, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, with collaboration with Cape Comorin Trust India and Cape Comorin Publisher India. In this session, we have 3 paper presentations. Each paper presenter will be given 10 minutes so we can start. I would like to invite. Hello. Can I
Yes,
hear
ma'am.
you?
Dr. Viswanath and Dr. P. Murali Krishna Reddy, they will be the first presenters, ma'am.
Yes,
Dr. Viswanath and Dr. Murali Krishna Reddy.
Okay, I would like to invite Dr. V. Vishwanath and Dr. P. Murali Krishna Reddy. Their topic is Artistic Transformations in Joyous Carol Oates Short Stories. You can start, sir. Dr. V. Vishwanath, sir. Are you present, sir?
Dr. Vishwanath, if either of you are present here. Dr. Vishwanath and Dr. Murali Krishna Reddy. Ma'am, in such case, I suggest you to move on to the next participant, Mustafizur Rahman.
Yes, I would like to invite Dr. Mustafizur Rahman, PhD Research Scholar, Department of Linguistics, Assam University, Silchar. His topic is Numeral System in Sherpa Language.
Good evening, one and all present here. I am Mustafizur Rahman from Assam University, Silchar. I am going to present my paper on numeral system in Sherpa language.
Okay, sir, please start.
Okay, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. This paper presents a view of numeral system of Sherpa language, which is spoken in Sikkim, the state of India, and Nepal. The paper expresses the basic concept of numeral system, and it is shown with the help of Sherpa language examples. The Sherpas are one of the indigenous tribe of Sikkim, having a distinct identity and ethnic identity also. The Sherpa language belongs to the central unit of the Bodhis section, which comes within the Bodic subdivision of Sino-Tibetan family. Sherpa is mainly Sherpa has mainly the decimal type of numeral system. Majority of the numeral roots in language are monomorphemic, that is only a single word. However, bimorphemic and numerals are also available, that is 2 words. The compounding is the productive morphological process to form the higher number in the language. As I told that only single word or double word is available, but with the combination of this single and double word, we can generate the new numbers. So Sherpa numerals can be divided into 5 groups, which is cardinal numbers, ordinal numbers, frictional numbers, multiplicative numbers, and distributive numbers. So first, I would like to tell regarding the cardinal numbers. The structurally cardinal numbers can be sub-classified into two groups, that is basic numeral and compound numeral. Basic numeral means basic numerals are the one denoting numbers from 1 to 10. The basic numerals from 1 to 10 in Sherpa are bound roots. That means no words can be separated from these things. These are the independent words which cannot be segmented further. There are 10 basic numerals in Sherpa. That is one in Sherpa it is Chik, 2 Ni, 3 Sum, 4 Z, 5 Nga, 6 Tuk, 7 Din, 8 Ge, 9 Gu, and 10 Chuthamba. So these are the basic numeral. After this basic numeral, we can see one more numerals in the cardinal numerals. That is compound numeral. Compound numeral means in Sherpa, compound numerals are formed by combination of two free numerals morphemes. Like this 1 to 10, two number can be combined to create a new numeral, which is called compound numeral. Compound numerals are primarily classified into three types, that is additive numerals, multiplicative numerals, and multiplicative cum additive numerals. For example, additive numerals, the numeral from 11 to 19 are additive compounds numeral. They are formed by adding the basic numeral with the associative particle chu. Chu means the numeral like 11, chu chik. Chu is added to chik. Chik means 1. Chu is added to chik to create 11. Chu chik 11. Chu ni. Chu is added and ni is 2. That chu ni means 12. Chu sum. Chu means chu is added and sum means 3. Chu sum. Like this 11 to 19 we can add chu chik, chu ni, chu sum, chu ge, chu gu. Like this we can formulate the additive numeral. In the formulation of century numeral, the Sherpa, the basic numeral are suffixed to the century root gya. Like in Hindi, 100, 100, 200, 300. In Sherpa also it is like same. Gya is the main root and chik is added to form the 100, 200, 300. Like gya chik means 100. Gya is common and chik is 1. Gya chik 100, gya ni 200, gya sum 300. The numeral from 1000 to 9000 are formed by adding of basic numerals as suffix to the root tongtha. Tongtha means hajar. Like Hindi, it is ek hajar, do hajar. Tongtha means hajar. That means 1000. Tongtha chik means 1000. Tongtha ngi means 2000. Tongtha sum means 3000. Multiplicative compound numerals. The numerals 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 to 90 are multiplicative compound numerals. They are formed through the multiplication of the basic numeral from 2 to 9. 2 is followed by the thamba. Like ni chu thamba. Like 2 into 10, 20. Ni chu thamba. Sum chu thamba means 3 into 10, 30. Likewise 4 into 10, 40. 5 into 10, 50. Likewise, ni chu thamba, sum chu thamba, ji chu thamba. Like this, we can multiplicative compound numerals. These are the example of multiplicative compound numerals. So third one is numerals showing the relationship of multiplication plus summation. Like 2 into 10, 20 plus 1, 21. This is another form, another way to the numerals in Sherpa from 21 to 29, 31 to 39, 41 to 49, like this up to 91 to 99 are formed through the multiplication of first two numerals and the summation of the third one, followed by the numeral formative suffix chi and gu. Like ni, chu, cha, chik. Ni means 2, chu means into, cha means 10, chik means +1. That means 21. Ni, chu, cha, chik. Ni, chu, cha, gu means 29. 2 into 10 plus 9, 29. So this way, these are the example of numeral showing the relationship of multiplication plus summation. That means first they will be multiplied to 2 into 10, and then the summation of whatever number you want to add, 1, 2, 3, likewise up to 9. So these are the system. And then comes the ordinal numbers. Ordinals in most of the Tibeto-Burman languages of Northeast India are derived from the cardinal numbers by means of suffixation, mostly by suffixation of morpheme to the correspondent cardinal numbers. The ordinal in Sherpa is also formed by adding the numeral formative suffix to the cardinal numerals, followed by the suffix po only in first and pa in elsewhere. Ordinal numerals in English, the examples are first, second, third, fourth, like this. In Sherpa, the first, it will be tang po. Tang po. In the first only, the po will be added, and other, the pa will be added. Like tang po means first. Ni po, ni pa, sum pa, zi pa. Ni pa means second, sum pa means third, zi pa means fourth. So likewise, after the number, we can add the pa to create the ordinal numerals. Then comes the frictional numerals. Frictional numerals means it is a part of the whole thing, like half, 1.5, this kind of 1/3. These are the frictional numeral. In Sherpa, we can only find that frictional numeral pheka, which denotes half. Pheka means half. And after, if we want to create any other frictional numeral, we have to go by adding this half to any other number, like chik, tang, pheka. Chik means 1, tang means and, pheka means half. 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. Like this, like that we can add, but there is no concept like 1/3, 2/3. This kind of concept is not there. Then comes the multiplicative numerals. Multiplicative numerals are formed by prefixing the phoneme thang to the corresponding cardinal numeral. Numerals like in English, the examples are like once, twice, thrice. These are the example in English. In Sherpa, thang chik, thang ni, thang sum. These are the examples of once, twice, and thrice. Then comes the distributive numerals. A distributive numerals is a numeral which expresses a group of number specified. In Sherpa, the distributive numerals are formed by reduplicating the numerals as illustrated below. Like 1 each, 2 each, or 3 each. These numerals can be these numerals are formed in Sherpa by reduplicating the main number, like re re, ni ni, sum sum. Re re means 1 each, ni ni means 2 each, sum sum means 3 each. These are the main classifications of numeral in Sherpa numeral system. And majority of the numeral roots in Sherpa language are we can find from these examples that majority of the numeral roots in Sherpa language are monomorphemic. However, biomorphomic numerals root are also prevalent in the language. The compounding is the productive morphological process to form the higher numerals in the language. Thank you, ma'am.
Mustafizur Rahman sir, you have chosen a very interesting topic. I must say it's a very, very interesting topic. You have beautifully discussed about numeral system in Sherpa language. Congratulations, sir. It's a wonderful presentation. Now I open the house for discussion. if anybody has question for the speaker, then I encourage you to unmute yourself and ask your question, or you can write your question on chat box. Any question? Oh, great. Nobody is ready to ask a question. It shows our paper presenter are successful to clear the concept.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
I just seen the Dr. V. Vishwanath sir joined.
Yes, madam. Good evening, madam.
Good evening, sir. Your topic is artistic transformation in Joyous Carol Oates short stories.
Yes, madam.
You can start, sir.
Yeah, good evening to one and all. And thank you for the given opportunity for the organizers. My paper title is Artistic Transformation in Joyous Carol Oates short story. Myself, Dr. V. Vishwanath and Dr. P. Murli Krishna Reddy, we both wrote this paper. So the introduction. Joyous Carol Oates is a very American writer. Early in her career, she drew comparisons with such a predecessors as Flannery O'Connor and William Faulkner. The cheaply rural and small town milieu of her earlier work expanded over the years, as did her vision of passion and violence in the United States in the 20th century. It is difficult to separate Oates' short fiction from her novels, for she constantly produced volumes in both genres throughout her career, unlike many writers who produced both long and short fiction. Oates never subordinated her stories to her novels. They represent in some a no less considerable achievement, and Oates is by no means a novelist who something writes stories, nor for that matters a storyteller who sometimes writes novels. Both forms figures certainly in her overall work. In many cases, her stories are crystallized versions of the types of characters and dramatic moments found in larger works. Over the years, the themes and stylistic approaches in the two genres maintained a parallel progression. An analysis of Joyous Carol Oates' artistic sensibility establishes that the writer has made a gradual and definitive shift from naturalism to humanism in the course of her extremely prolific 5-decade-long writing career. This paper, by examining 5 of Oates representing short stories from each decade since the 60s to the present, intended to prove that the author's motoring artistic temperament while addressing the human condition has transitioned from harsh naturalism to redemptive humanism. The first short story, Where Are You Going and Where Have You Been? This is the title of the short story. The story that details the effects of a male introducer into the life of a female protagonist and the difficult of connection between two very difficult peoples is Where Are You Going? Where Have You Been? One of the Oates' most anthologized early stories, this tale of confused adolescents based on a true story of a serial killer in Tucson and passes the hot summer nights with her equally precious girlfriends. Throughout it all, however, she privately harbors innocent dreams of ideal love. The next second short story, The Census Taker. A small rural town in mythological Eden County, based loosely on the religion of Western New York, where Oates grew. Is the setting up the census tracker one of the notable serious stories from by the North Gate. It is a simple story involving four relatively anonymously characters, a census taker, a boy, a girl, and a mother. And it is told in simple prose against a hazy fairy tale like landscape. The third short story in the religion of ice. One of the Oates' early charm in the short story, also dealing with obsession and madness, is a piece entitled In the Religion of Ice. First published in the Atlantic Monthly in 1965 and later in the Wheel of Love, it was an O. Henry Award winning for 1967. The protagonist of In the Religion of Ice is Sister Irene, a Shakespeare lecturer at a small Roman Catholic university. For all practical purposes, she lives in the region of ice, a region void of feeling and fashion, perfectly comfortable in front of a class. She is otherwise timed and essentially incapable of developing meaningful human contact. The fourth one, this scream. The struggles with desire, rebellion, and identity are subtle but no less intense in a story entitled The Stream. The Scream. It is a mood piece in which little happens. The emotional impact is found in the images and the tension of stillness. The protagonist is a woman named Rini, who, like many of the characters in the volume Crossing the Border, is an American living across the border in Canada, floundering in a loving but lifeless marriage. She has been having an affair with a man for whom she feels passion but little trust. Conclusion. Among contemporary writers, Joyce Carol Oates is the unrivaled American master of the short story. She has exploited the genre with such a energy, versatility, and resourcefulness that critics routinely compare her not with any of her contemporaries, but with past writers such as Chekhov and James. Thank you very much, madam.
Uh, Vishwanath sir,
Yes, madam.
you beautifully explained Joyous Carol Oates stories. I must say you have justified your topic well.
Thank,
Congratulations, sir.
thank you so much, madam. And thank
Now I
you.
open the house for discussion. If anybody has question for the speakers, yes. Any question? No. So I would like to invite our next speaker. Uh, in fact, last speaker of this technical session, Reena Rani Justin and Dr. Kiran Kumar Netali from Presidency University, Bangalore, and their topic is Revisiting Migrants, Lifestyle Migration to Lifestyle in Migration Through the Lens of Joseph, a Migrant. Yes,
Good
Reena
evening.
Rani Justin, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Very good
I,
evening, ma'am. You can start, ma'am.
yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the team. I'll start the revisiting migrant lifestyle migration to lifestyle in migration through the lens of Joseph. That's the topic. And moving to the topic, it's according to the World Economic Forum, India is the top source of migrants. India is the superpower of migration. The reason for migration basically from India, India is still a developing country. But my focus is not only just a migrant, those who have moved from India, but within India also there is a lot of migrants. Migration is happening within the state. And the reasons are people are not getting a good job in the place where they are working, or the reasons are poverty still in certain states. And especially in the digital world, I can say the migration is not only the physical move, it is a migration in mind also. The mind where people are attached with the globally people, and their mind is getting changed. The globally they are thinking differently. That's the reason the keyword of my paper is migrant, internal migration within the India, and new demands. And all this I'm covering with the comparative study of a Joseph, a lifestyle who think globally and act locally. That is the need of the hour, to think globally and act locally. The book that I have referred for my paper is Accidental Executive by Albert Imson, that talks about how a Joseph, a character, just give a glance of Joseph's life. Joseph is a person mentioned in Bible and accepted by the three religion. He is from the Abrahamic link, and he was a person born to Isaac, and he was a wealthy person, but because of his foolishness, he was moved into a slavery and moved from the Canaan to the Egypt, and there he was sold as a slave. And in that slavery, how he worked, he was a migrant to Egypt, he was a slave. And when we talk about a slave in the olden time, a slave is a person who has not have his own identity. They can't think by themselves. Whatever the master says is that is the command. But in that situation also, the Joseph was a different, he was a unique. And how he, from the slave, he became the prime minister. That is the uniqueness, and that is my paper is focusing about, from his life. How even in a migrant, even in a place of loneliness, even in the place of isolation, how he worked. So starting from the first time when he was sold to a Potiphar, chief jailer of the Egypt, and how he worked. The first thing what we can learn from his life is integrity and hard work. He was very faithful to the master and working very hard to that place. He not only just work hard, he learned the language. That is very important for a migrant, to learn a language and be faithful and work hard. And that is what we learn from the life of a Joseph. The first step of his success was he was a hard worker. He was keeping his integrity. Why I said that? The second phase of his life, the master was so trusted him that he gave the key of the prison, and he says that you can work. He made him the master over the slaves. And the second stage, what happened in his life was the woman, the master's wife, the Potiphar's wife wants to misuse him, or I can say that sexually wants to abuse him. He was a young chap. He was 17 years old, smart, and was doing the work also very creatively. That all impressed this woman, and she wanted to have a relationship. And look at the Joseph. He has all the way he can run, and we have seen in the workplaces also how people slip. But here you see the Joseph, he didn't slip from that place. He was keeping his integrity, and he was faithfully working, even though he was blamed by the master's wife that he wanted to rape me. And he was put in the jail where he was actually taking care. And now he moved to the main jail. And there also, if you see the life of Joseph, being slave, now he's a prisoner in that city, he didn't lose the hope. He was working, he was learning, and he has one more talent. That is, he can interpret the dreams. And he thought in the jail, as he was learning the culture also, he started helping the people in the prison. And again, the prisoners were very happy, and the jailer was also very happy. He made him the master over all the prisoners. And the prisoners were used to go and share their problems. And it happens the butler of the king was also saw a dream, and he interpreted the dream and used the opportunity and says, when you are free, can you help me out? And that is how the king also got a dream, and people remember this person, and he was presented in the mass in the front of king. And since all this while of his journey, he didn't murmur, but he was working and learning. He learned the culture, and here is the king who, when he interpreted the dream of a king, the king was also very appreciated and make him the minister of economic there. And he started ruling because he interpreted there is a 7 years. There will be good harvest, and after 7 years, there is going to be a famine. And the master trusted, the king trusted the way he said, and says, okay, you are going to bring up the solution also. And he brought the solution. He married there, and he became the prime minister over there. And this is what the lesson I want to give to all the migrants, that how we can change our life, especially in the Bangalore. If we see out of 10, 8 people are migrants. And most of the time, we are not very successful. The reason is there, one or the reason we slipped. We feel inferior. We feel we don't know the language, or we don't belong to this state. Or sometimes we compromise our culture. So there is a personally, not only professionally, but personally also, the conflicts happen. And the life of Joseph shows that not only he's successful in that place, he even brought his father, brother, those who sold. Brother were the actually reason who sold them, because they were jealous. And the family jealous, he was forced to leave his place and come to this place. And here, the success story talks about that anyone can be successful if they use their life skills and communicate well wherever you are. Learn the language, learn the culture, but don't forget your place and your culture also, and be faithful. Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations, Reena Rani, Justin ma'am, and Dr. Kiran Kumar Netali. You guys justified your paper completely. You captivated me through this story. Congratulations, both of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, I would like to congratulate all the organizers of the International Virtual Conference. They successfully completed this this virtual conference, and I would like to congratulate, I would like to thanks Dr. Regis Lewis, sir, President of Cape Comorin, to giving me opportunity to chair this session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shajila Vasudeva, for conducting the session for us. We're very much honored with your presence. And thank you, ma'am. You conducted the session effectively, and you have been asking really very excellent and intellectual questions. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your participation. Doctor?
Sir, may I ask something?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I just wanted to know when the certificate will be issued and what is the procedure to get our papers published.
I think from the trust you will be getting notifications, ma'am. You'll be getting the notifications shortly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Okay,
And
bye.
for the next session, we have 3 more participants: Mohammad Junaid, Mehak Wazir, Mukta Satisha. Are you all there, sir?
Yes, sir, we are there, sir.
Thank you so much. Let me call upon the chairperson. Could you please bide with me for 2 minutes? I would like to call upon the next chairperson to conduct the session.
Sir, I'm here, sir. You can start, sir.
Oh, such punctuality, right on time. Thank you, Professor Mohammed.
I'm also here, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sir.
I would like to give a brief introduction for Professor Mazhar Hussain. He is a veteran in this profession. He has been in the teaching service for more than 10 years now. He holds a UG and PG degree from the most prestigious Lyla as well as the New College. And I invite Professor Mazhar Hussain to take over the session. And I have a small request to the participants. Due to the time constraint, I humbly request you all to limit the duration of your presentation to an extent of maximum 10 minutes, I know you'd all be very enthusiastic, and I don't want to curb your liberty or your enthusiasm. But however, I've been forced by the time limitation to put forward this request. Thank you so much. Professor, you can carry on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So I will start. We will start the presentation. The first to present is Muhammad Junaid, MA English scholar from University of Delhi. You can start, Muhammad Junaid.
Okay, hello, good evening all. I think I'm audible. Am I?
Yes, you're audible. You can start.
Okay, my topic was a study on Indian media's distinctive potentiality in promoting peace and reconciliation in Kashmir. Actually, we all know and we all agree that Kashmir is a really integral part of India, and we know that Kashmir is really important for India and as well as for Pakistan. So here I am going to talk about what the Indian media can do in promoting the peace and reconciliation in Kashmir. Actually, Kashmir sufferings and Kashmir is both of them are actually like siblings together. Like Kashmir from the day it was conquered by Mughals through the Dogra rule and partition, and till now it has been suffering a lot, suffering whatever the world was suffering in a whole, like the pandemic. These Kashmiris were suffering them in a in an enhanced way. They were suffering in the multifold, and when a journalistic apartheid, we call them like the journalistic ignorance towards Kashmir is added to their sufferings. It's like a bombard over the ailing ruins of Kashmir actually. So the Kashmir. So I would like to first, in a nutshell, I'm going to talk here about what the coverage of Kashmir had been done by Indian media till now, and what changes we can do to our coverage to make the people of Kashmir actually love Indian media and return back to those days when the Kashmiris, they hugged the journalists and they expressed their love in that way. So that we can make their mind in a favor, make their mind, thus they choose us in a plebiscite which is promised for them by United Nations in 1951. So I'm going to talk about the Indian media's potentiality in making making the Kashmir minds attractive towards towards India. So firstly, I want to talk about the journalism which had been done towards Kashmir in India and Pakistan media. Actually, there are two types of journalism called war journalism and peace journalism. In a conflict area, the journalists have to choose between two journalism, war journalism and peace journalism. So in Kashmir, till now, Indian and Pakistan media, both of them were doing what introduced by Johan Galtung. It's a Norwegian. He is a Norwegian scholar. So he is the one who has introduced the war journalism and peace journalism. So till now, Indian media has been doing what is called war journalism in Kashmir. The war journalism is something like in a conflict area, when the reporter is reporting only the visible effects of a war, like the casualties, the death toll, and who is going to win. It's like a sports journalism with zero result. Like the discussion will only about who is winning and who has more casualties and who is more like affected by the war. So that's the actually war journalism. And what I'm going to tell here is, by a complete change of Indian media's approach to a peace journalism, we can promote, we can give more, we can push Kashmir towards a peaceful alternative. So till now, Indian media has been Indian media. So here I am going to talk about Indian media. So there is no person now, no space is given for Kashmir media today. As my focus is on Indian media, I am going to talk about Indian. So Indian media till now, covering Kashmir, they have been doing something called a perception management strategy. Like they were doing like the researchers tell, Indian media were acting as a public relations operation for the military in Kashmir. So they had the extra duty of making the Kashmirian minds sympathetic for the Indian army. And actually, and see, reporting the truth in Kashmir was termed anti-national, because reporting the truth, they will have to talk about the army excess and a doom. There is a doomed face of Kashmir post Article 370 revocation. There were reports of rape, which followed by murders and fake encounters, forced disappearance, lack of proper medical supplies during COVID days, and blocked communication and unannounced internet shutdowns, where all the schools and classes were held online. So all these phases of Kashmir were concealed conveniently by Indian media, and they showed only a normal part of Kashmir, where they depicted the people as they are living peacefully. So this part of Kashmir where they were suffering was completely hidden by the media. So that's a kind of state-centered depiction of Kashmir. So and so the Kashmir is being misrepresented in the world. So they are not only misrepresented by the media, but the army, whom the Kashmir people are, the people of Kashmir have been seeing all these days as their occupiers, are being worshipped in Indian media, are like heroes. There is an article by Wasim Khalid named reporting on Indian press reportage of floods in September 2014. September 2014, there was a huge flood in Kashmir, and Wasim Khalid is analyzing the Indian press reportage of Kashmir. He is telling that the local journalists of Kashmir, they were not given a chance to cover the flood affected areas. Instead, the journalists from Delhi were quickly parachuted into the flood affected areas, and on one condition, that they should cover only the rescue efforts by army, not the efforts by people. So instead, the Kashmiris, who were already reeling from the floods, say they were also suffering. They were also being more frustrated and angry when they saw in the media representing only the army rescue efforts. So their efforts were gone completely invisible in the world outside. So for there, we should have a journey back. We should have a journey back to those days when the Kashmiri used to hug. Kashmiri people loved the Indian media, and the Kashmiri minds were somewhat with India. So for this journey back, we have to Indian media. So Indian media have to embrace some inevitable changes. Indian media have to walk all the way from the war journalism, which where they are now, to the lovely place of peace journalism. So actually now in Kashmir, the high militarism, the Kashmir is like a militarized act. For example, there is a military man, an army man, a soldier for 10 people in Kashmir. So it's a highly militarized area. The high militarism have proved for bearing no fruits at all. There is no any results, any positive results in highly militarizing the Kashmir. The mind of people were really rejecting the armies and only seeing them as occupiers. So to build the trust in the minds of people, actually building the trust in minds of the people is the bears more importance than anything else. The people, more than seeing it as a territorial issue, more than seeing Kashmir as a territory, we should see the minds of people. We should meet their expectations. So to meet their expectations, the best tool at government's disposal are the journalists, because as these reporters, they are able to dig deep into the valleys and to the villages of Kashmir, and to see what people are actually facing there, to see their sufferings, to see the way of life they are leading in Kashmir. So seeing all these things and reporting them with truthfully to the government and to the outer world will expose the sufferings of Kashmir to the outer world. So John Galtung have introduced peace journalism, and he has established four main principles for peace journalism. So I am going to talk about how actually by applying these four principles, we can bring peace in Kashmir. So the first principle is exploring the formation of conflicts in a conflict area. The media should explore who are the parties involved, what are their goals, what is the socio-political and cultural context of conflict, and what are the visible and invisible manifestation of violence. So not just confining the Kashmir as a territorial issue, the socio-political and cultural context of Kashmir should also be discussed in Indian media. And the second principle is avoid the dehumanization of parties involved and expose their interests. So what the Pak media were doing, they were dehumanizing the Indians, and Indian media were dehumanizing the Pakistanis who were involved, the both of the countries who are involved in the Kashmir. So um, so this gives India a great like chance, great opportunity when Pakistan media is doing the same as Indian media, the war journalism, which only aggravates the violence, and with it doesn't do any good for Kashmir. So when Indian press starts to show a good face to Kashmiris, they will of course be attracted to India because they are in a desperate need to be listened to, and they were open with all its plights and adversities to any helping hand stretched towards us. So when they see an Indian media is stretching a helping hand towards them, they will of course be attracted to India, and that will pay a way for India, for India to have their herds and to have the plebiscite, which will of course we have to go give them the plebiscite. So that their mind, if it is attracted towards India, it will of course help India in the plebiscite to come. So the third principle is offer non-violent responses to conflict and alternatives to a militarized violence solutions. So reporting an area of conflict, the press should offer non-violent responses, should discuss, should have the press, the news channels and newspapers, they should discuss about in their editorials and channel discussions. So they should discuss about peaceful alternatives of the violence, not just talking about the violence and who win and who fail. They should discuss about the peaceful alternatives and what can be done with no militarization and money and human loss, how the peace can be brought. So the fourth principle is report non-violent initiatives that take place at the grassroots level. So in every conflict area, there would be some grassroots level where people live with no any conflict, with no hatred towards. There are in Kashmir itself, if you take it, there are lots of places in Kashmir where people live with religious harmony, with no violence at all. So giving them more visibility and taking them as an example, we can inspire others who are indulged in violence. We can inspire others to come back to the life of peace. So these are all what can be done by media themselves to walk the way of peace journalism. And there are some other things which the government also can do. Government can give identity card and curfew passes for journalists to go and cover Kashmir. And government can show a compassionate attitude towards the journalists who are covering Kashmir, like not forcing them for anything else. So in a nutshell, in total, the Indian media has to go from war journalism to peace journalism to attract Kashmirian minds and make them in favor of India in a plebiscite to come. Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Hello?
Mohammed Junaid. You spoke on the... Yes. Can you hear me? Mohammed Junaid.
Yeah. Go second.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you spoke on the journalism, and you spoke on war journalism, and Kashmir is a paradise on earth, and hope that Indian journalism will follow what you said, and they will report what is happening in Kashmir, and the situation will improve in the years to come. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, next participant is Mehak Wazir, MPhil Research Scholar. You can start your presentation.
Yeah, am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, you are audible. You can start.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to make a presentation on the topic. Wait, I have to share my PPT. Yeah, I'm going to make a presentation on the topic role of socio-economic Yeah. And my topic is, this is Mehak Wazir, and I'm a research scholar from the Department of Economics, University of Jammu. And my topic is role of socioeconomic background of students on educational performance, a case study of District Kathua. In the modern era, the progress and development of nations is dependent on the quantity and quality of education received by its people. Education is the basic indicator of the level of development of an individual and the society as a whole. Education forms an important input in overall development of individuals by enabling them to comprehend their social, political, and cultural environment better and respond to it appropriately. Framework of the academic achievement of the students. The nucleus of entire educational growth is the academic achievement of its individuals, which has its own importance in the present educational scenario. Societies adhere academic achievements as the principal condition for evaluating one's overall potentialities and capacities. It forms the main basis of admission and promotion in a class. It is also very important for obtaining a degree or getting a job. Therefore, it is the need of the hour to help to have high academic achievement. Public and private school decision. Parents are always looking out for the betterment of their children, as we are aware about it, and trying hard to make best decision for their future, and also have a desire for higher level of achievements for their children's education. This desire puts a pressure on them to choose a right school for their children, since different schools perform differently. The difference in the educational performance between the public and private has resulted in school choice problem. The factors that are affecting the private or public school choice decisions are like quality of education, students teacher ratio, and the school size of school, safety, parents involvement, school fee, and other related expenditure, educational level, and teachers quality, etc. Statement of the problem. The whole educational system of the world rotates around the academic achievements, as we know. This is in this competitive environment, it is the core need for the progress of any country. For this, private schools are getting mass acceptance today to ensure sustained progress of the country. And it is in the present study, the socioeconomic characteristics of students have been found to be influencing the educational performance of the students, like parental education, occupational status, type of family, educational economic status, home environment related factors like number of study hours given to the student at home, availability of reading room at home, part-time work status of students, parental involvement in their studies. On the other hand, school-related factors influencing the educational performance include factors like type of school type of school students are attending, teachers qualification, teachers accountability, teacher-student ratio, class size, facilities in the school, duration of class, and medium of instruction, etc. Objectives of the study is to examine the factors associated with public and private schools preference, to examine the performance of 10th pass public and private school students in terms of their marks obtained by these students in the 10th class board examination, to determine the factors responsible for the differences in the performance gap of public and private school students. Methodology for the study, for the present study, we have used a multi-stage purposive and systematic random sampling technique for the selection of schools and respondents from the schools. Purposive sampling was used to select the schools, while the decision regarding the selection of schools was made on the basis of type of school, like boys, girls, co-education institutions, and the study coverage, whereas the systematic random sampling was used for identifying the respondents from these schools. And total 152 higher secondary schools out of 152 higher secondary schools in the study area, 70 were public and 84 were private higher secondary schools, and out of which we have selected 15 higher secondary schools and and out of these 8 were private and 7 were public higher secondary schools, and overall 15 higher secondary schools were selected. 10 students from and 1 administrator, that is principal or head master, were interviewed in each sample school. From each sample, we have selected some students that were interviewed who had passed 10th. It means they were from class 11th. Collection of the data was, as I have already mentioned. I am going to just give the analysis part because it is same as methodology part. So because of the time limitation, analysis, as we know that academic performance refers to the assessment and the evaluation of the children's academic rating based on their schools in discipline. Commonly measured measures that are used by examiners are like the examination results and continuous assessment, but there is no general rule of agreement on how it is best tested or which aspect are more important. But in the present study, school achievements is taken as the percentage of marks obtained by 10th class in the board examination. This slides give the first objectives, that was the performance and the factors related to it, from this slide we can see that the students from public schools are generally from poor background and having and their parents are mostly from unorganized wage employment. They are mostly employed in unorganized sector and are mainly from poor section of society, whereas from private schools, those who are attending the private schools and those who have passed that and they were mainly from organized sector. It means their father was mainly from the organized sector and were mainly they were having higher education. They have completed 12th grade and were from and have graduated, and that is the reason, because of their preference towards the private school, that they are giving better education. They are choosing private schools. This slide shows the public school, the sample distribution of the those students with their performance, with their percentages. It is showing that the table is showing that the students with parental education level up to graduation have mostly secured 60% of marks, and majority of the students whose fathers or fathers mostly whose parents were from who had education level from 8th to 12th grade, they had secured 51 to 70% range. However, majority of the students majority of the students whose parents were illiterate had secured less than 50% marks. And that above table, this table also shows that the marks were of majority of the students who were self-employed and were and employed in unorganized sector were having percentage between 50 to 70%, and also the in majority of the cases mothers of the respondents were housewives. And the table also shows that the parental education rather than parental occupation has a strong effect on the academic performance of children of highly educated parents have been found to score higher marks. Yeah, and this this slide shows the private schools students with their performance and their relation with on the other hand their some of the determinants have been shown in the first first column. And this slide is showing that maximum of the people maximum of the students who had secured better marks like 67% were 61 to 70%. They were having their parents highly educated. The socioeconomic background of private school individual students show that the fathers of majority of those were having graduation level and above, and majority of the students mothers were educated up to 12th standard. Since fathers of majority of the respondents were found to be educated and graduated, that's why they were preferring private school. Yeah. The comparative analysis of when we compare the private and public schools, it is showing that 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 there is a difference in the preference of parents, and this difference is difference in the performance in public and private schools are the result of difference in the socio-economic background of students, and the differences in the quality of education between public and private schools. Generally, the public school students belong to poor background in comparison to private school students who generally come from rich background. Secondly, the quality of education in private schools is better in compared to the quality of education provided in public schools. That is the perception of the teacher, perception of the parents, that more educated parents are preferring the private education. From all this, we can conclude that private schools students generally outperform public school students because of the differences in the determinants of the academic performance. In private schools, there is frequent communication between the teachers and the and the parents of the students, and both of them have to provide feedback about the performance of the teacher of the student, that make private school students perform well in comparison to public schools. Also, parents level of education influence students performance, and students with educated parents perform better than the students having less educated and illiterate parents. Educated parents were found to be more serious about academic achievements of their children. Parents' socio-economical status and provision of learning resources influence students' academic performance. The study also shows that the fee charged by private institutions was much higher, and thus making them inaccessible to underprivileged students. It is therefore deducted from the present study that the socio-economic status influences the school's performance, and that the home-based factors in the particular have a vital impact on the school's performance of students than school-related factors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mehak Wazir. I want to ask a question to you.
Yes, please.
You have taken research in District Katua. You have taken you have compared the government's public school and the private school.
Yeah.
And your research paper says that private school are doing well when compared to the government school.
Yes.
What is your opinion? What is that government school is lacking when compared to the private school? For example, I am from Chennai. We don't see any difference between private school. Here everything is, we have good performance. Here the in a government school and scientists. So in public school is lacking.
Yeah.
Why it is not equal to private school? Please just make a short answer. Okay, give a short answer to us.
Yeah, I'll give a short answer. Even I'm also from an educated family. My parents are also in education field. They are also teaching in some public school, but they had preferred at that very time a private school, because I think it is also it is also the responsibility of teachers there. They are not, if they will take their children, I think they are just not giving, they are themselves not giving preference to public school. If they will start at their own level, sending their children to public school, if the moment they will start thinking that their children are also from this school, from that very school, I think it is also a reason, it is the main reason, that they are not showing any accountability. They are just they are not just taking it as their own responsibility. Even if I'm talking about my own parents, I'm thinking they must have preferred a public school in comparison to a private school for us even. I think it is lack of accountability of the teachers, I think, and the system is all corrupt. That's the reason, I think, and it is
Okay.
our problem. Yeah.
Thank you, Mehak. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Next participant is Mukta Satisha, Assistant Professor, Department of Water and Health, Faculty of Life Science, JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Mysore. Ma'am, out there?
Yes,
Mehak?
yes, sir, I'm there, sir.
Mukta Satish.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can start your presentation.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I'm just trying to share the presentation. One, yeah. So, yeah, are my slides visible, sir? Are my slides visible?
Please, you can start.
Okay.
Yes, visible. Yeah, visible, ma'am. Now,
Thank
yeah,
you.
you can start.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I would like to introduce myself as Mukta Satisha. I'm a research scholar at Central Institute of Indian Languages, Mysuru, and I'm an assistant professor of English at School of Life Sciences at JSS AHER, Mysuru. So my paper for today is focuses on the Nagpuri folk literature of the Chik-Baraik tribe. And the Chik-Baraik tribes are found in, they're residing in Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, and Chhattisgarh. The current paper has been framed with the following objectives: to study the folklore of Chik-Baraik tribes and to study the culture, folk songs, and traditions of Chik-Baraik tribes of Jharkhand through the Nagpuri folklore. So the Chik-Baraik tribes, they speak the Nagpuri language. According to Dr. Goswami, there are a total of 27,63,841 speakers of Nagpuri language in India, and all these Chik-Baraik tribes, they can be found in the state which I mentioned earlier. So the telling of the stories appears to be a universal culture common to basic and complex societies alike. And the folktales the form the folktales take are certainly similar from culture to culture, and comparative studies of themes and narrative ways have been successful in showing these relationships. In short, the folk stories of different languages like Mundari and Santali, Nagpuri, and other tribal languages of Jharkhand, they are quite similar. Coming to the Chik-Baraik tribes, they are traditionally a weaving community, but now many of them have gone towards agriculture, and some of them who have migrated to cities are even in the banking sector as well as in the education sector. So coming to the Nagpuri language, it belongs to the Indo-European family. It can be subclassified under Indo-European. It can be subclassified as Indo-Iranian, further subclassified as Indo-Aryan, Eastern, and finally under the Bihari nomenclature. It is also known as Sadani or Sadri. So now we will come to the main focus of this paper, that is Nagpuri folk literature. So basically the folk literature consists of a lot of themes, and they are a self-expression of the narrator's language, and they are very written in very simple language, as in no decorative or figurative or extravagant language is not used, and they are basically a description of mankind's joys and sorrows, dress code, way of life, attitudes, and all these form a part of the folk literature. So classification, several historians, especially Dr. Stitz Thompson, he has classified Nagpuri folk literature into two, that is simple folk tales and the complex folk tales. Based on the themes, the Nagpuri folk literature can be classified under the following themes, broadly speaking: love and romance, morality and ethics, entertainment, society and social issues, children's stories, ceremonies and rituals, and finally folk beliefs. Now, there are many unique features which can be found in Nagpuri folk literature. The first one is an unknown narrator. Narrator is never, the name of the author is never mentioned at the bottom of the folk tale, because all of them are oral traditions which have been passed down from word of mouth from generation to generation. So they have been collected and they have been compiled. So usually the narrator is unknown, and you cannot trace the origin of the folk tale. So there is the second feature is lack of authentic or original literature. Music is a major component. Folk songs are also a major component of the folk literature. Essence of local culture. The fifth characteristic feature is presence of oral traditions. 6 is lack of any extravagant style of writing, as in the language is always simple. 7th is absence of the author's personal attributes in the writings, as in the author never, you can never find the, a footprint of the author in a particular folk tale. They're all just simple tales, and the narrator's signature is missing in the folk tales. Existence of long plots in the narratives, usually the plots are very long. Use of reduplicatives. And the 10th feature is lack of accurate historical information. So when you read the folk tales, you cannot make out exactly which century these folk tales were written in, because the chronologically their tales have not been, these folk stories have not been recorded. So the following elements are revealed in the study of Nagpuri folk narratives. First one is plot, second is characters, third is environment, conversations between the characters, objectives of the story is the fifth one. And sixth one is the narrative style. So these are the 6 main elements which are found have been composed and are sung and performed
Professor Maza?
Sir, yes, I'm here, sir. Tell me, sir.
Is there some technical complication with the presenter?
Yes, yes, Mukta. And suddenly there was technical issue, and
I think
yeah,
I
again
lost my
joined
network.
She's back. Yes.
Yeah, you can continue and can make it short and finish off your presentation.
I'm almost
Okay.
at the end of the presentation. So the last
Yes,
part
yes.
of the
Yes,
important
yes.
element is the myths. The several myths have been described in the Nagpuri literature as in related to the creation of the earth, man and woman. And in conclusion, I would like to say that this paper presents an overview of various aspects of Nagpuri folk literature like fairy tales, children's stories, myths, riddles, idioms, and proverbs. And as of now, Nagpuri language is taught only in the colleges of Jharkhand, but it is not taught at the primary level. So if appeal has been made to the government, to the present Jharkhand government, to introduce Nagpuri language in the districts of Simdega, Gumla, and Khunti and Ranchi districts at the primary level. If it is not introduced at the primary level, there are chances that the folk literature poses a threat to its extinction. So it might disappear forever. And with this paper, I would like to conclude that the study of Nagpuri literature is very important. If the government wants to understand the problems of the Jikparak tribes, it must first go deep into the literature of the Nagpuri tribes. So I would like to conclude my paper. Thank you for allowing me to present. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Muktasina, ma'am. A question to you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Tell me, sir.
Ma'am, how can the tribal language survive where English has become the dominant language in the world? How this tribal language can survive?
Yes, okay. So I have personally visited these tribes, and after speaking and interacting with them, what they told me was that this particular Nagpuri language, it is being taught in the colleges, okay, and the script is Hindi, that is Devanagari script. So it is not yet introduced in the primary level. So one appeal which all the tribal people made to me was that they are trying to approach the government that it introduces it that the language is introduced at the primary level in the schools. So once it is introduced, this language can be preserved. As of now, Hindi is being taught. If Nagpuri becomes a second language, at least in 2 districts of Simdega and Gumla in Jharkhand state, then this language can be preserved, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Your answer was very clear and your presentation was very wonderful. It was very clear and in-depth knowledge. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much.
It's over to both, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Yes.
We have come to the triumphant closing session of this magnanimous event. I wish everyone present in this magnificent gathering a happy and a lovely evening. Time has flown really very swiftly on swift wings for the past 2 days now, right? But it flew like a courageous hawk, and at the same time, like it's glided so swiftly like a nightingale, filling the valley with its beautiful music. Similarly, all these presenters, these lovely presenters, have filled this virtual conference with their beautiful voices and beautiful presentations. I would like to quote a verse from the Holy Bible, from the chapters of Ecclesiastes, as said by one intellectual king and a renowned philosopher, King Solomon. He says something like this: to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Knowingly or unknowingly, all of us have abided with this golden principle for the past 2 days. And all through our life, we have been following this principle. You know why? Because we have gathered knowledge from education, like the way one gathers ore from this Mother Earth. Then what do? We have forged this ore, this accumulated knowledge under the fire of our willpower. And then we have sharpened our acumen. We sharpen our acumen on the anvils of our experiences. Finally, we brought forth something beautiful and also powerful, like a sword. What is the purpose of a sword? Like all swords, they get their destiny fulfilled when only they are brandished on the battlefield. Similarly, all these presenters have brandished their personality skills and their intellectual personality in this great arena of this conference. At this moment, I am dutifully bound to congratulate and thank all the good souls that have enabled the idea of this conference into a triumphant reality. First of all, I would like to thank our magnanimous and benevolent principal, Dr. R. Meganathan, and our versatile vice principal, Dr. Oates Aisha, who have granted us this permission and the time and the facilities to conduct this conference. Thank you all. Next, I take great pride to thank all the chairpersons, They have been really patient. I've been watching them. They've been really patient. I really thank all the chairpersons for their magnanimous and the generous heart, for condescending, first of all, to our invitation, and sharing their precious time amidst their busy schedule, and conducting this conference so efficiently and effectively. I thank you all. I thank you all. I would like to thank all the paper presenters. Of course, the paper presenters, they are the heroes and the heroines of our conference. I would like to thank all the paper presenters who participated, and all of you have done a really great job. You have presented a colorful range of multiple topics. I was like bedazzled, and I thank you all, everyone, and I wish and pray for you that you will be presenting more such presentations in the near future. God bless you. And when it comes to another important aspect, my heart truly elates while I reflect upon this triumphant success of this particular conference, because this successful event would have remained an idea. This was an idea, but it would have remained just an idea without the... Sorry, there was some technical difference. Without the inception, initiation, and execution of the renowned Cape Comorin Trust. Especially, I take a special moment to thank one good person, Mr. Regine Sylvester, for his outstanding support from the beginning to the end of this program. I thank you profoundly, Mr. Regine Sylvester. God bless you, sir. There is one another person who, according to the commandment of my conscience, rightfully deserves the mention of the name. Hours of hard work and relentless efforts. This one person, without whose guidance this program, this event, and this idea of our excellence, they were all put under waste. It is our most beloved head of the department, the intellectual and highly versatile Dr. M. Kalainadiyal. I thank her on behalf of the entire staff of the English department. I thank thee heartily, ma'am. I have one more duty to fulfill. I would not be able to forgive myself for the rest of my life, nor would I be able to sleep peacefully tonight if at all I fail to mention the participation of an elite group of supercharged and super dedicated people. They are none other than our own English department staff. I thank profoundly Professor Muhammad Mazhar Hussain, Professor Asma Yunus, Professor Gayatri, Professor C.L. Sampol, Professor Ruxana Begum, Professor Steffi Pastina Silva, and our own Mr. Incredible, the incredible boy of our English department, Mr. Murthy. Thank you all. On seeing all your dedication and hard work, I am reminded of one particular and a special saying in Tamil. Oor koodi iduttal ter nagarum. You have showed all, you all showed that this particular adage in Tamil is true and valid till date, because you all acted and executed your part in perfect synchronization and proved that unity brings victory. I thank each and everyone who have done their part with grace to make this virtual conference organized by the benevolent Cape Comorin Trust and the management of Muhammad Satak College. You made this conference a triumphant event. I thank you on each and every one of you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. With this, we are coming to the conclusion of the session. Thank you all.